Good evening everyone, and this is the follow-up video from the one I made about my belt, and now we're talking about the trousers and what I carry with them. And I was going to do this the other way around with my trousers and unpack them and show you, but I forgot and I just unpacked them and stuck them in the wash. So we're doing it kind of backwards. So first of all, these are, as you can see, it says here block ladder, or I just call them black ladder, but I don't think that's how it's pronounced. This pair is perhaps my longest, the pair I've had the longest, and they're very crusty, and we're going to load them up for some work I'm doing tomorrow, hence why I thought it'd be a good opportunity to film. Now, I've had cheaper trousers in the past, and I can tell you they're okay. You know, you can buy cheap ones and get by, but these are a lot better than them because they cost a lot more for one thing, but you do get what you pay for in terms of the quality of the fabric and the quality of the stitching. It's lasted me a lot longer. Like, nothing's ripped or blown out or anything like that. I mean, I've got one rip here, but that's it. And that's because it was where a cast iron back boiler I was trying to move. I was holding it, and I put it down and it fell over onto me. And it has those sheet steel enclosure in the corner, just went and stuck right in my tender leg. I imagine it would have been a lot worse if I'd been wearing a cheaper pair. I imagine the rip would have gone straight down. But as it was, I got away with a small hole. The cheaper ones, again, when I load them up as well, carry a lot of stuff with me. The pockets just blow out and you can't carry anything with you, and you got things falling out, and it's not good. And right away, one design feature that's good, these pockets are separate from the main body of the trouser. They're a separate liner, and so if this pocket was just sewn into this piece of fabric here, like a lot of the cheaper ones would, I would now have a hole in my pocket, because that's where it is, underneath there. I'd have a hole right on the edge of the stitching. So there's one design feature that they got right. Now, this is a fairly simple, this company makes all sorts of different trousers for different applications, and like always, I don't claim to be the expert. You pick what works for you, but these are very simple. There's no flappy bits here and there. They're just a plain pair of trousers with some admin. You've got some organisation here. I wouldn't mind another pocket like that over there, to be honest, rather than this thing. I only really use this for putting my eyeglasses in, and I could easily run those in a case. But there's not much point, as I have a pocket here, although that's not really what it's suited for. It's just what I use it for. But I don't like them where they've got flappy bits here and there, and they've got pockets where you can't really put stuff in because it doesn't stay in. Because I do a lot of climbing around, and if you've got an open-topped sort of bandolier type thing on here, everything will just come spilling out again. And at the same time, I say I want another pocket. It is good that it's not completely just overloaded with pockets like cargo trousers. So simple is better, in my opinion, because then also it doesn't impede your movement as much. You're not getting confused, having to dig through all these pockets all the time. You know exactly where everything is. You get a layout of a certain type of trouser and you get used to it, and then you buy the same pair of trousers over and over again until you find that there's something wrong that you can't live with anymore, like I did with the cheap pairs that I was buying. They were Lee Cooper ones, I think, and I couldn't live with the shelf life of it as such. Or you just, if you're happy with them, then don't change them, or be forced to change when the manufacturer stops making them. I like that this back pocket has a good proper flap on it that velcros up, as does this one as well. Because I don't, all too often we have these open pockets on a lot of these working trousers now, and they're just no good, because you know, you put a pair of gloves in here and it'll just work its way out again. But I'll talk a bit more about those sorts of details as we load this up. But that's the pair. That's the pair I always use. That's the pair I'm happy with. I did try, you know, to say, you know, how do I know those trousers don't work for me? It's because I tried living and using a pair of these, and you can see that they are virtually brand new. And I'll tell you why they're brand new, because I used them and I just couldn't get on with them. I mean, look at this pocket. Nothing. Everything's just going to spill out of there if you even so much as start climbing a ladder. Let alone all the hanging upside down and all the scurrying about that I seem to get up to and find myself doing. There, and I didn't like the admin pocket on here. I mean, what's this clear bit about? I mean, what are you supposed to put in there? I don't know. Somebody probably uses these and thinks they're great. And again, with these back pockets, there's no lid on here. Yeah, somebody probably thinks these things are great, but not me. I just can't get on with them. Tried to live with them, because, you know, at that point I'd kind of bought them and I thought I should get some use out of them, but I just can't get anywhere with them. But yeah, on this particular pair, here are the specs. Here's the label they give you. They say lifetime guarantee on the seams, and so far I can verify that. Just trying to show you it. I have difficulty with the field of view on this camera, trying to show you everything. Trying to film everything. Now, they do make a model of this trouser that's exactly the same, but without the knee pad pockets here. I prefer running internal knee pads just for my use most of the time. It depends on what task I am doing. You'll notice a pattern here that I tend to, you know, change and adapt things dependent on, you know, again, what the situation is. I don't just run the same trousers all day every day regardless of what's going on, because that would be weird. But these are quite good. These are the manufacturer's ones, and I think these are, well, really, these are the most comfortable that I've used. I've used others here, and you'll see them here. They're on this shelf. This is kind of the shelf of things that don't get used as much, and you see you can buy these ones. These are some ones from Wilko's, and they're okay. These are JCB ones, and people get me these, or I pick them up sometimes when they're on sale, and they're good to have a spare pair. And these Dickies ones, these are almost as good as these in terms of comfort and, you know, actually staying in there. But these two, they're just a bit too short. They don't, like, although they look the same length as that, I don't know what it is, whether it's the thickness or just the general, like, because you'd think, oh, that would be the same as that, but for some reason these always sit down lower in the pocket than these fatter ones here, these black ladder ones do. And you can see that I've had these for a while. Anybody who's got these know that they come and they're perfectly flat when they arrive. And I've had these a while, and I wear these ones the most just because they're the most comfy. And if I'm really stuck, I'll wear these. Like if I forget to take them out and they're in the washing machine, and I need the trousers ready to rock and roll for the next day, or if I know my schedule's going to be busy, so I pack mine, you know, one pair of work trousers, and then I'll pack the next pair in advance as well. Kind of like what I was planning to do tonight. Then I'll, you know, use them. But those other two, they don't really get a look in much anymore. I used to use them more all the time until I bought these. What was I saying? Yeah, they do make one without the knee pad pockets. And so if you prefer running something like this, these external pads, you can. And these aren't the best, these are just what I have again. I wouldn't recommend these anymore for general. Oh, no, I do. These are good. I do recommend these. These are Alta pads, but they're more of a they're more billed as a military pad. But I bought these over some of the other work pads that I had access to at the time, just because they looked kind of shit. And they didn't really work as well. Like, I bought some cheap ones. What were they? I think they were Dickies, like Velcro on ones, but the Velcro, like, you put the Velcro around your leg and it gets all bits in it and it doesn't work after a while and just ends up falling off, and it's just not fit for purpose. Whereas these, they've got these little triangular things here and they just clip on and they stay on. I mean, what's wrong with that? Why can't everybody just make knee pads with things like that in them? You know, or on bloody Velcro, because you get Velcro on the back strap, and because my legs are kind of skinny, you end up pulling it right over like that, and then you end up with spare Velcro and it's rubbing in your legs, and I just couldn't get on with them. But with these, you know, they've not got any of that. They've got little keepers here that are Velcro, and they do kind of bug me sometimes and rubbing into me, but not as much as just having things flapping about here and there. And as you can see, these have had a fair bit of use because, you know, again, they're good. You know, the stuff that doesn't get, you know, the stuff that looks brand new that sits in the cupboard is the stuff that I don't recommend, whereas the stuff that is, yeah, you can see that there. That's where I knelt on a bit of molten solder, like lead solder for pipe work, and if I'd have done that in these, it would have burnt a big hole in them. And if I'd have done it in my, you know, without any knee protection on at all, it would have burnt a big hole in my skin, I imagine. But this stuff, it just soaks it up. And these are waterproof. You can have these on Amazon for about 20 quid. And I more use these now for when I'm dealing with things like plaster and, you know, general outdoor work, where I'm going to be encountering a lot of mud and muck, and especially in cold weather where it can go over my cold weather clothing and I'm not wearing out, you know, a pair of good over trousers on the ground or anything like that. And you can put these on over these as well. So if you're doing work outside and then you come inside and you're kind of switching around, they're good for that too. They're quite versatile. And of course, when you're done at the end of the day and you get in the van, you know, these rubber pads here, they'll all be clogged with mud and shit, but you can take these off and put them in a little baggie and, you know, wrap them up, and then you're not putting dirt all inside everywhere. So that's the basic units, and now we're going to fill them up. Oh, you know, the most essential bit I almost forgot is the belt. I used to use this one until about a month ago. I mean, this is tried and tested. It's made of leather, and I've had it, well, forever. You can see it's very petite because I have a nice slender ballerina-like figure underneath all my bulky clothing. I'm just a minstrel, really. But the only thing about this is that it's heavier than this, and as you can see by that big box of stuff there, that's all coming with me, and so it's all about the weight, I'm afraid. And this type, you can have them where they fail, but I've tried a couple of different types out just off of Amazon, and, you know, this was like $3.99. If it breaks, I'll just buy another one for that kind of money. And this particular manufacturer seems to be okay. They don't seem to come unstuck as often. This metal bit came off, I had to put that back on, but that was about it. I have to say, if it comes off again, I might not even bother. That, and another advantage over the leather belt, that has holes in it, yeah, to, you know, adjust it to your size. And if you want more holes, you got to drill them yourself, like what I did for that big tool belt. But with this, it's more precise. You can precisely adjust it in, you know, basically millimeter by millimeter, which is handy because, you know, if you do, say, if you're having lunch and you eat a nice big lunch, you know, for once, if you're actually fed properly. Not that I'm ever fed properly, but there we go. You know, you fill up and you all, and you know, you want to loosen off. You want to loosen some bulk off, and or if you're bursting for the loo, and you can't go, you know, at the customer's house because, you know, they're weird about it, or there isn't a loo. then you know you need to kind of take that pressure off of your tummy, because otherwise, you know, it's going to be like squeezing a big bag of water. And it's just going to make the situation worse. But these are good, and I don't like the ones where they got words on them. Like, you know, I'm not a billboard. I'm not going to go around advertising a company's product, especially if I don't agree with their you know, like I don't like their quality control levels or their design decisions or just general stuff. I don't like using stuff that doesn't work. So the only reason why I'm showing them this is because so you know what trouser it is. Because it actually has a label sewn onto here as well, but I just took that off because it just kind of looks tacked on and needless. I mean, these look so neat. They've got the little, you know, grey bits like on the. Did you ever watch, you know, the what's it called, the Battlestar Galactica series they made in like the early 2000s, and they had all these little grey details, or they had the red ones, and then the Pegasus arrived and their uniforms had grey details, and I just thought I just like that they have them on these. That's what it reminds me of. And you know, it might sound sad, but why not? You know, I'm going to be wearing these things every day. It's good to have a little bit of pride. So yeah. Moving on, eyeglasses, most important thing. You can see, if you look carefully, all the little scratches and all the dirt and schmoo in here that, you know, over the months, over the past couple of years, my face has encountered. And, you know, I just can't be doing with letting that stuff in my eye, funnily enough, because it hurts. And what's really funny is that my boss says, "Oh, why are you wearing your glasses?" As he's looking at me through his glasses that he wears to see with, because, you know, he's short-sighted or whatever, and so he always has his on anyway. And so whenever he's working, he's got something that stops all the stuff from coming into his eyes. But when I want to put something on, you know, to have the same thing, oh, it's not allowed. But that's a different thing. I don't want to talk about those yet. Let's stay on the subject of, you know, PPE as such. You know, we've done eyes, knees, you know, hands, fingers, you know, and toes. We'll get to well, we've done toes, haven't we? Because we reviewed the boots, but you know, like the nursery rhyme. But yeah, these are my gloves. These are my primary set of gloves, I should say. And I might make a separate video about these. These are not too expensive, I would say. You've got to find a glove that fits you first of all, because otherwise you're not going to have it on. And I don't wear these all the time. I'll take these on and off, but these have a nice fit. The fingers go all the way to the end. There's no, you know, extra material really. I mean, there's a bit around here, but on the whole they're pretty good, and without having gloves made for me, this is, you know, as good as it gets. And I can easily pick these up and replace them as they get worn out, and have multiple pairs on the go, because these go in the wash. Because they get filthy inside and out. I mean, you can see I've been using this pair, and they're not great, but they don't need to be washed yet. They're working gloves, they're not for eating with. Although you get in the habit of wearing these things, and all of a sudden, you know, you think first of all it's, oh, why do I need working gloves for? And then you think, oh, it'd be nice to have those on. And then, you know, a few weeks later you're eating your dinner and you've still got them on, and you're like, oh. So yeah, that's the primary set of gloves, and they either get clipped onto my radiator key. Yeah, here it is. This is another system that I use. I have my radiator keys on a carabiner, but then I kind of throw other keys on there just because it's quick and easy, and they shouldn't really be on there, but you know, the common theme is that this adapts to serve me rather than me serving it. You know, it's not set in stone that, you know, everything's got to be in a certain place. You know, I'll move and switch things around in these pockets, especially when I'm wearing the trousers. If something's uncomfortable or whatever, because, you know, otherwise that would be weird. It'd be like, you know, saying, oh, I've got to hang my keys only on that particular hook and it can't go on any other hook. You know, it's crazy. But yeah, usually if I'm not using them, they might go on here like this, or I'll put them in another pocket, because I'll have other things on, like I don't just work in these trousers and nothing else. Or I'll clip them onto my work belt. They kind of move about. There's not a specific set place as such, but I usually put them on here when they're hanging up and not in use, just so they're with me. I've got here, no, not yet. Eyes, ears, toes. Now we're on ears now. I have ear pluggers with me, and lots of them. Now the reason why I have lots of them is because, again, if you choose to be the kind of person that has takes what they need with them, you know, choose to be the responsible adult, what you'll find very often is that you'll be working away, and you know, well, I wouldn't say somebody, everybody pretty much around you hasn't got, you know, this or that with them. They say, have you got a pen? Oh, can I quickly borrow your pen? Can I quickly borrow, you know, have you got any spare earplugs? And that's why I always carry a lot with me. Now, saying that, I do have a big hopper with about 1,000 of them in there, and that cost me about £5. That's why, you know, I don't really mind lending these to, well, I don't lend them because they don't come back, and I wouldn't want them back. You know, you just use these and throw them away, and you just take them out their packet, roll them up like so, roll them up like that so they're nice and thin, and then you push it in your ear and it's all thin like that, and then it expands back out. But yeah, you know, when you buy these, it says it on the back of the box. Yeah, I always carry a lot of them with me. I mean, they weigh nothing. And also, masks. Now, I've searched high and low for these. These are lay flat dust masks, so they actually fit in my pocket, nice and flush, and I have them with me, and they come 2 in a packet. So again, if you're doing a lot of dusty work, you might ruin one mask, say you spill something on it, or you know, you dribbling into it all day and you find it's not, you know, passing much mustard anymore, you know, the metal bit goes or the elastic breaks. You've got a spare, or for the inevitable, you know, when the boss turns up and says, oh, you've got a spare mask. You know, when everybody around you's coughing and spluttering and breathing in dust from the grinder or whatever, and you've got your mask on, you know, you often get asked if you have a spare one, and sometimes I say no, but hey ho, I guess I'm just a soulless person. Now, when the stuff's obviously not in the trousers, I try and put it in a little box here. Look at that, it's labelled even, keeps me organised. But this has all got to go in here eventually. I'm just thinking about what to talk to you about next. Obviously you've got to have tissues, and obviously you've got to have more than that. I mean, that's not going to get you past 9 o'clock, is it? For blowing your nose, and for when you go to vent the radiators and you forget to have a piece of rag with you, and you know, save your bacon there. That, and for when you cut yourself as well, like mopping up blood, when you forget to put your gloves on, or you've put them down somewhere, or they're ruined. And I've got a little Sealy bag here as well I like to keep on me. It's just an empty bag. I think this one is where some what are they called, some plasterboard fixings came out of. But I'll often put things like the van keys in, will go in there sometimes if there's a lot of muck and stuff, just so I don't, you know, lose them in my pocket. It keeps them clean, like for muck and stuff, but it's more because there's a lot of stuff in here. They'll kind of, you know, and it's only little, like, it'll kind of get lost in amongst everything else, whereas you've got a big bag you can kind of grab onto and kind of pull it out and find it quickly, which you'll need to. Got a notepad obviously, because what with being slightly senile, you'll forget stuff, and so you'll need to write stuff down. And I actually have 2. I'm not sure why I have 2. You know how it is, you can't find one, so you start another one and then the first one turns up. But whatever, I'll put both in there, because I'll probably lose one, and then I'll have the spare again, won't I? So it just goes round and round like that. It's the wheel of life. Now obviously if you've got a pad on you, you've got to have a pen. But then what if you want to mark something, say you want to write on tile or something? Nice felt pen, very good. This one's a Sharpie, so you know it'll write on anything. But be careful about marking walls, you know, that are going to be painted or have been painted, because it just won't come off. Whereas a normal, like a colouring felt tip pen, you know, for like a child, it's water based and it does come off. And I should have a pencil in here, but again, going back to what I said earlier, there's some more earplugs that can go in there. What I said earlier, if you have these things on you, people borrow them and they don't always remember to return them. In fact, I don't think I've ever had a pencil returned to me. There's one. That'll do. Stick that in there. I prefer carpenter's pencils because, you know, they don't immediately snap when you use them. You know, when you're in a rush and your hands are shaking, they get broken very easily. And these little pencils should be in my pipe splice bag. Oh, I've got one in there. Have I got one in there? No. Stick that in there. These are like the little pencils from like Argos and Screwfix. They just go in there. Now, oh, there's another pen. This one's really good because, you know, obviously it's a glass breaker, so, you know, I can get out of a car when it's been driven into a lake. But this pen will also write on pretty much anything. It's got one of them space cartridges in it, and you can mark most things, and it does come off. But you can take it off again for most things, which is handy. And that usually goes there. Extendable magnet, what for finding screws and whatnot. You know, picks things up. Obviously not a set of tap spanners, but you know, it's got a decent, you know, it's powerful enough to pick something big up like this brush. You know, it's not just for picking up loose change. You know, there's some of these cheaper ones, they're not as good. Obviously it can't pick up some things like that brass radiator key. It won't be able to pick up. On the whole it's quite good, and you know, you look at this and you think, I'll never use this. And that's what I first thought when this was given to me. And then, you know, I had it in my pocket one day, and the next thing I know, you know, I'm eating my dinner with it. It's saved my bacon a lot of times when screws, you know, you're working in a loft and screws get dropped down into those dark crevices. It's hard to get them back, and so that's what I end up using. Sorry, struggling to speak. So let's keep the pace brisk. There's another Sealy bag here. Don't need that. Now you'll find if you organise your stuff into a box, it'll quickly get filled up with things that you don't use every day, but that's beside the point. I've got a little mirror, a little portable eyeball that I can use to see, and it's even got a little light on it. Although this battery here needs changing, so I'll do that later when we're finished filming. Usually those LEDs are a lot brighter. And I have to say, this one's pretty good because it can get into all sorts of tight spaces. And it's also good for checking if you've got something in your teeth. It's been bothering you all day. And, you know, it's another thing. You think, what the hell do I need it for? All of a sudden, you can't leave the house without it. A torch. You need, you know, and you'll notice this is a common theme, is redundancy throughout this system. I carry a lot of torches. You know, at risk of sounding like a broken record, because nobody else ever has anything on them. It's insane. People leave the house and they're just, you know, not ready. So not only have I got to bring a torch for myself, I've got to bring a torch for everybody else that wants to, you know, join the fun. And I might make a separate video about these torches. This one's really good. This is the one that I'll lend to people. You know, because if I don't see it again, it gets stolen, or, you know, people fail to return it. It's not too much of an issue, because these what they called XP2s, they're about $1.99 off of eBay with free postage. I wouldn't give them this. This is a lead lenser. This is, you know, advanced kraut German alien technology, you know, and it's also flat. It needs the batteries changing. But you know, just look at the build quality in this. I mean, look at all that brass. It's got more brass in it than a bloody tap. You know, don't give them this. Don't give them this IP20 waterproof to 50 meters torch. Give them this, and then when they piss off with it, they you know, it's not, oh my god, where's my torch? And you know, and you ask them about it, and you're like, oh, I thought I'd give it back to you. And also, a proper knife. You know, a Stanley knife's good, and I have one on my belt, but sometimes a Stanley knife, you know, forgive the pun, but it just won't cut it. And sometimes you need something that is sharp and that will, you know, do the task that you want it to do, because, you know, not only do I have to do work, but I also get splinters and shit in my hands. And, you know, this is a sharp knife is your best friend in that situation, because you can actually get the stuff out again. And, you know, living in the horrible totalitarian state. Did I mention I also go after people that, you know, don't return my stuff? That's also what it's for. But on a more serious note, living in the horrible totalitarian state that, you know, this country is, you know, this is a highly illegal, deadly weapon. Like, oh my god, don't carry this, you'll go to prison. Well, people say that about my bloody Stanley knife, and I say to them, well, you know, if they're going to arrest me for carrying this, you know, it's the least of my problems. Wait till they search me and find all this other stuff. But, you know, if you're not causing any trouble, and you're not, you know, obviously a problem, then my argument is, why are the police ever going to stop me and search me and all this other stuff? You know, surely you know, there's enough sanity left in the world to see that, you know, this doesn't, you know, harm people. This doesn't kill people. It's the nutter wielding it that does. You know, this is just an inanimate object. It's no different from a pen. You know, what's the difference between being stabbed by a pen and being stabbed by this? Well, I can tell you that this will hurt a lot more, but there's no difference. They're both things. They can't hurt you unless you know, use them badly. You know, a mad person is just as likely to commit a crime with this as they are with the knife. You know, they're both tools. But speaking of tools, I also have a means of starting fire on me at all times. You know, because I live in vain hope that one day I'll be able to light a young lady's cigarette for her. You know, at all the various nightclubs that I visit, you know, while wearing this stuff. But also, as you've seen on camera, it's for lighting the gas torch. It's for a variety of other tasks that you know, require fire in some way. You always got it on you. If your blow lamp breaks, you're buggered, aren't you? You've got no other way, because, you know, nobody smokes anymore. And, you know, they can't possibly put a little thing like this in their pockets. You know, obviously you don't have to carry a Zippo. I just carry this because I like, you know, it's something to fiddle with while I'm bored. You know, and it's actually quite nice because you can do tricks with it and stuff. And this particular insert is actually electric. You see that? It's not like a flame or anything. It's electric, and you charge it up with a micro USB, so it doesn't like dry out. You know, you come to use it every time and it works. It's the most reliable type I've found. Electric pen, always got to carry one of those on you. I've been electrocuted enough times to know that it hurts and it's rubbish and it's not for me. So, you know, and I like this one because it doesn't beep and make a load of noise, and you can check, you know, it's got battery check, and you can just press that and you know it works. It's a Fluke one. It's not a cheap, you know, $1.99 from Fleabay. It's not one of them. You want to get a good one. And also, you should never rely on this in the first place, because you should follow safe isolation procedure. But I won't get into that, because, you know, as much as I would like to follow safe isolation procedure, you know, the people that are around me don't always follow it. And so you have to take a bit of responsibility for your safety as such. Now, there's some other pens and things in here. There's another radiator key that I use sometimes. It's on a little thing, so you can't lose it. It's very fun. Very nice. Where is it? Here we go. Here's another device for my various keys. Now this is what I will put the van key on most of the time, for being in and out of the van. Just because this is such a solid thing, it won't fly off. I'm not afraid of losing it. That being said, I don't want to lose my radiator keys, because look, the reason why there's two, I don't know if I said that, but they're different. This one's old style, this one's new style. And you know, these older rads, the new style one, where the pin's been used so many times it's rounded off, and the new style one won't turn it. Got a diary. I'm not going to show you what's in there. It's just, you know, well, I'll show you a bit. You know, it's for writing in what you're up to. I like to keep it in my back pocket, so I don't say things like, you know, I can do such and such a thing next weekend if you want, and then I look in there and lo and behold I'm busy, can't do it, oh my god, I've double booked myself and it causes a crisis. Not going to have any of that anymore, because I've got that with me all the while. And this is just a little case for one of the torches, but I don't tend to use it because it's got Velcro. I just found after a while, like all things, Velcro will fail, and this is no different. And this just, I used to put it on my tool belt, it just flies off now, so it doesn't get used. I've got a nice little tape measure. Sometimes, you know, I'll take this with me instead of this huge bloody tape measure on my belt, or sometimes I'll take both. It depends what task I anticipate. If we're not going to be doing that much that day, I'll take the little one, just slip it in my pocket. And if we're going to be doing a lot, then I'll take, you know, obviously the bigger one. And that comes into it again, where I'll take this off and leave it, but then if I feel like I might need something and I'm not carrying that, then I've got this on me. This is just a little 3-meter one, and obviously it's just no good for, you know, serious work. But if you just want to measure something just quickly, you know, it's better than nothing. It's better than guessing or using your thumb. I'm using the Mark 1 eyeball. Now you'll notice there's a lot of little push fit caps here. Oh, well, some of these are push fit, some of these are speed fit, and some of these are compression. I don't tend to carry 22 compression caps, just because, again, the weight. They're just too heavy to justify it to myself. But in general, unlike most human beings, let me sit down. I'm a bit tired, you see. Unlike most human beings, I can admit that I'm fully capable of making a mistake, like, you know, say I just get plain old mixed up and cut through the wrong pipe. I can, you know, quickly put a speed fit cap on the other end. And touch wood, you know, it's never happened to me. But, you know, with being young, it's my whole life ahead of me. I feel that it's more a case of when it happens and not if, and so I carry those on me. And I have some compression ones as well. These are more of a useful thing because, you know, you can cap something off with these and then come back the next day and put a valve on, and you've still got your nut and olive left from the cap. You just unscrew this from the pipe. Your nut and olive's still on there, made on from when you tightened it up, and you can just slot your isolation valve on. That's why I've got this silver nut on here. That's for an isolation valve, because if you have a brass one, you know, obviously they won't match and it will look unprofessional. So I have one colour, one of each colour, and they come in handy. And also you've got a spare olive if you pull it, you know, if you need to reuse a fitting. You've not got to go down to the van and open up the tray with all the olives in. You just say, no, I've got a spare olive here, look. And then later on you go and get an olive from the tray to replace this, and you've not lost, you know, time. You can get another olive when you're clearing up. Just, you know, make a note with your pen or your pencil, write it on a piece of paper, write it on your hand, you know, and then you won't forget. A lot of this equipment exists to support you know, each other, you know. Let's see, I don't need this, don't need that. In fact, I don't really need for what I'm going to do tomorrow, because these crusty trousers won't be coming with me to when I go back to work proper. You know, I'm just wearing these to do some work with, but I pack it all out very often as well to get into the habit of having it all on me all the time. Because not only do you get used to walking around and, you know, moving and, you know, jumping up and down and swinging about and hanging upside down with all this equipment on you, so you're not, you know, on the day where you need to carry lots of stuff and it's a long day, you know, it doesn't wear you out as much because you've been doing it every day and it's just what feels normal. And when you come home and put on a normal pair of trousers, it feels like you're bloody, you know, naked. It feels like you have nothing on you. Obviously I carry a wallet, you know, what for putting cards and things in and money. You don't really need to see what's in there. Don't know what's happened to it. I had, somebody gave to me a one of them wallet ninja things. I was going to show you that, but it's not here. What have I done with that? It's going to piss me off now. Yeah, one of them little tools. I'll have to make another video about it now. But I've not tried it out yet, so I suppose it is a bit premature. Yeah, sometimes, you know, and obviously I carry a phone. I've got to stop saying that. Often I'll put the wallet in my pocket, or the phone, not in my pocket, in the bag, sorry. You know, and I'll leave that somewhere because you don't need your phone. Well, at least I don't need my phone when I'm working. Some people can't, you know, go 5 minutes without doing this with their thumbs all the time. But me, I don't care for phones. If I can, you know, leave it, I will. But unfortunately, I do not have that kind of life where I can be just left in peace. People are always trying to get hold of you. And your wallet, you're not going to buy anything while you're busy working, you know. Just leave it. Yeah, that's it. That's all that's the work trousers. That's what you see me wear on camera each and every time we're, you know, messing about. And they'll have a lot of these items in there, depending on what I'm doing that day. And I just hang my trousers up, and then when I wake up in the morning, they're ready to go. My belt's ready to go as well. I'll just strap that all on me, and I'm out the door faster than you. So yeah, before I say too many times and, you know, completely bore you to death, thank you for watching, and well, goodbye and good luck. I hope you found this interesting and that it gives you ideas for your own equipment choices, and, you know, it's giving you something to think about. And we'll be doing some more work in the bathroom tomorrow. That's why I'm doing that. When this goes out, I don't know when. I don't upload videos chronologically as I do them in time. Just because I might not finish something. Here's some water. That's better. I might not finish something completely, so I won't upload something half finished. But yeah,